Awesome. All right. Well, hello, everybody. Thanks for joining. Welcome to this week's Profoundly Pro Spotlight series. This is a series where we dive deep on all things pro and get really tactical. We look at diving deep with pros to understand what's really working and what's not in practice every day. There's no fluff, no theory, just real conversations with real pros about approaches that make a difference. One of my favorite things about our community is how eager everyone is to help one another. And that's exactly why we're here today. I'm really excited to be joined by Bill Barlas, profoundly certified pro and founder of Quick2Bid. Bill has been very generous in volunteering his time here to share his insights and his approach around things like how he prices, how he approaches discovery calls, how he closes deals, and beyond. We're going to cover everything from the profile strategy through closing those engagements and really securing those projects. And then we're going to open it up for Q&A from the audience. So feel free to drop your questions in the chat if you have them, or hold on to them till the end. We'll come off camera, come off mute, and you can ask Bill towards the end. But Bill, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always a pleasure. Profoundly is a big part of my business. And you guys have helped me in many ways, and I'm really excited to get back to the community and talk with other pros about approaches and things like that. So yeah, nothing better.
Awesome. Bill, for anyone that doesn't know you yet, can you share a little bit about your background?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll start with myself a little bit and then get a little bit into what my firm does. 30 seconds, elevator pitch level. My name is Bill Barlas. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Quick2Bid. I've been doing technology work for over a decade now. Started out in a more engineering function, quoting and selling boiler systems. So I learned a little bit about quoting software that way. And I've sort of, followed what was interesting to me technically throughout my career. And it landed me about 4 years ago in starting a small technology consulting firm focusing on integration work and CPQ, inquiry to cash, that kind of work. And I've been doing that ever since. And hopefully I will continue on doing it for many years to come. So
awesome.
yeah.
Awesome. 4 years, Bill, you've been doing this. Quick2Bid is 4 years old. Is that right?
Quick2Bid is full-time 4 years old.
Nice.
It really got started in 2018, the first, like the W9 or whatever says 2018, but I took a big old leap off a cliff in 2021.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And how many folks are at Quick2Bid today?
Yep. So we are at 4 full-timers, and then varying by the quarter, really more than anything, we are currently employing also 6 contractors and various part-time, sort of in that 15 to 20 hour a week role. So we're small, but not as small as we were last year.
That's awesome. Good growth.
Yeah,
Very exciting. There are lots of folks on the call and listening. Cool. So you've been on Profoundly pretty much since the beginning. Would love to get into the real tactics if you're up for it. You've got a good profile. Did you evolve that over time, or is that the one you started with?
So I've been working on it a little bit to see what hits. Something I want to be really clear about before we even get into tactics at all, though, is that I don't really believe in gaming things. So I still get aggravated by the concept of SEO. I don't like things like AI SDRs. I don't like anything that takes a shortcut. Right?
Yeah.
So, and that really applies here as well. So I think quick tips are bullshit generally, right? I like things that are really about bringing value and really about telling the truth about what you do and what value you bring.
Yeah.
Right? And so when I wrote my profile, I sort of sat down and said, okay, what are the things that I really know how to do well? What value can I bring? And that's what it really is, right? So what I would encourage people to do as they're making profiles, and how I did it, yeah, I am, aren't I?
No, it's true.
What I would recommend is make it into an art project, right?
Yeah.
So it's about making it, what value do you bring to the ecosystem? How can you help? That's really, and I think that's what my profile really reflects is, I can do integrations, I can do inquiry to order, quote to cash, that space. I know a lot about CPQ. And so I just wrote that. And I know a lot of pros that are super talented and super capable. And I would recommend that they, if you know about lead scoring, that's what you're going to write down, so. Yep. Or if you're Chris Carolan and you're a coach and you can help people get their thoughts in order, tell them that, So that's not a lot of really hot tips. It's more, what value do you bring, right? That's what I would write in your profile.
Yeah. So, real value with Bill Barlas.
Yeah.
I feel a series coming on.
Yeah, I think so.
I like it. Do you mind if I share your profile for folks that are on there?
Go ahead. Yeah.
I think folks would be interested to see it if they haven't already. So can you see this, Bill?
I can, yeah.
Hopefully everybody else can see it. So, and when you started off, like, how have you experimented with this? Like, did you sit down and like write it yourself? Did you have help? Like, tactically speaking, like, how'd you get here?
This was a Claude rendition of a couple of podcasts
Okay.
that then had about probably 20 to 30 minutes of editing time.
Yeah, I like it.
So,
I
uh,
call out a couple things in particular, like strong header. It says exactly what you do. That's clear not only to customers that are looking at the profile, but also the agent, matching agent.
mhm.
Really drives a lot of value there. You've listed out, these are the things that I noticed before we hopped on the call. You've listed out like specific services that you
Yeah,
focus on, which is also helpful for matching purposes. You go into your background, how long you've been doing this, your technical expertise, and so on. So definitely hit a lot of the best practices, I feel like.
yeah, absolutely. Well, and you have to also consider that like an LLM is looking at this and a person is now.
Yeah,
So, if you're thinking part of what I wrote this for was we do a lot of integration projects, we're really good at them. I wanted to say that,
yeah,
right? And so that's, so again, there's people with different specific areas of expertise. And, the other thing is that you have to match your problem to what people are actually looking to get solved. So for example, like I really am interested in like making and using UI extensions in HubSpot. I really am interested in like N8N. I like the middleware solutions. I like Data Hub. Like I'm interested in all these things, right?
yeah,
Not super heavy, a little bit maybe in here, but that's because I think a lot of customers don't necessarily know what to ask for from like a tool set perspective.
yeah,
And so I did a little bit of that, but it's sort of, you have to be careful not to focus too much on specific tools. It's more about solutions to problems. Like I can help you with a solution to a problem, and then I'll show you how when we start talking, basically. See what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah. A couple things that like I noticed that you don't have a booking link in here. Is there a reason for that? Not to call you out on the.
No, no, there is no reason at all. In fact,
Okay.
I really should have a booking link in
Okay.
there. So
Cool.
sorry. No, but that's what I was referring to before. I think that what I'm trying to do is say I will solve your problem, and I want to get into the problem before talking about how. So like being a PandaDoc partner, being an Excite partner, being a Hive CPQ partner, working with middleware solutions, like our partner page is huge.
Yeah.
I think there's two things you need to be careful of with that. Let's say that I said I've got super specific Celigo expertise here, right?
Yeah.
Maybe somebody that has Celigo is interested in that, but somebody that's looking for integration might think this is a Celigo person, not an integration person.
Yeah.
See what I mean? So
Yeah.
we will consult on things that aren't tools that we've worked on before because a lot of things work similarly. So that is actually pretty intentional.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. 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 For what it's worth, I know we've got product folks on the call as well. Like I wonder how we think big about that because we do have customers coming in with questions on specific apps, and that might
mhm.
not be the right app, frankly. And like I would want them to talk to you because
Yes,
you have that perspective where you take a step back and you say, well, tell me what you're trying to accomplish. This may or may not be the right thing for you.
correct.
And they might not make it to you if that particular app that they mentioned, isn't listed here. Just
Yeah. It's a back and forth, it's like there's a balance there because I don't want to be too specific about working with one and I don't want to list all of them because like how could you be an expert in everything? And yeah, there's definitely a little friction in how to do that. So
yeah. Cool. What I'd love to do next, so the way that I am thinking about it and love your feedback and thoughts on this is like we have noticed that there is a material impact to conversion when we get on the call, a discovery call with a customer. And so from a product perspective and from a customer experience and pro experience perspective, we have really started to think about how do we remove all the friction and get pros
mhm.
on discovery calls with customers as frictionlessly as possible. Does that make sense to you? Does that like
Yeah,
make sense?
let's talk about friction for a second. So, HubSpot Commerce Hub, the CPQ team I've been posting 86% of B2B deals get hooked up and stuck somewhere in the quoting process.
Yeah.
That's a CPQ problem. But the truth is that deal velocity is like, I don't know how you'd even measure it, but the truth is the thing that really is going to matter is speed,
Yeah.
right? How quickly are you there to solve the problem? Because it's top of mind at that moment, right? Deals that are responded to quickly, the person that responds fastest, there's several people in the Profoundly network that could solve for what I solve for, right? Maybe they do it a little differently, whatever, nuance. They're all extremely good. The pro that responds quickly to the deal, she will win. You see what I mean? That's how you
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah. All
I
else equal.
think
Yeah. So are you like, just tactically speaking, are you watching the marketplace channel in Slack or are you watching your email?
I'm watching my email.
Email, yeah.
Yeah. And so if something comes through and I think that I'm a good fit for it and I'm not too busy, so, I need to balance resources as well internally, right?
Yeah.
So if I see something that's good, I'm trying to respond to it in the first 15 minutes after it was posted.
Yep.
I believe that that is a huge, that's a big reason. And also, I think that when you look at the motion of Profoundly, so okay, you scheduled a call, you came on with somebody, right? You had a conversation with Brian, with Chris, with Jason. Great. Now you're onboarded. Boom, there's value right away. There's a qualified person,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
That is, I believe it, unique, or I don't know if it's unique. I'm sure others are doing it as well, but deal velocity is a huge, huge indicator of success.
No one else is doing it. It's just us.
Yeah. No, I mean the pros. I don't know how many pros
Just
are
kidding.
answering. Yeah, no, no one's doing what you guys are doing. No, what I mean is I don't know how fast the pros are responding, but I think that if you go quick, you got to wait. We could probably actually measure this.
Yeah.
Response rate, I would bet, is a, huge, huge indicator.
Yeah.
So,
100%.
yeah.
Cool. So you're watching email, you're seeing these opportunities come in. Besides your availability, your capacity, like what are you looking for? What's the first thing you do when it comes through?
Yeah. So I read the brief, right? And then I think, okay, are we a fit for this or not? I can usually tell from just looking at it, right? We are still in a founder-led sales motion. And so I give myself some grace that that's how I'm vetting these right now. Probably like if the platform were to expand significantly and we had some salespeople or people that were focusing on it, we would need a little bit better, more strategic way of doing that. But right now I'm checking, does it say integration? Does it say anything about deals? Does it say anything about Data Hub? Like what are the things, those are in my catalog, right?
Yep. Yep.
If the answer is yes, my goal is to get on a call. So my
Yeah.
goal is to talk to a person so they can meet me and talk to me a little bit, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that it's what you said about getting on a call is super important. But I do have a little bit of there's another friction point here, which is, are they going to pay full freight consulting rates for US based consultants? So I don't necessarily know if I want to get on a discovery call with everybody because I don't know if they actually are thinking in terms of the order of magnitude budget that I would have to be quoting to get something done.
Yeah.
Right. So
So how do you suss that out? How do you
I put my rates on there.
where do you put them on the proposal? Yeah.
I
It's not
put
on
them in the
the
project. We charge
Yeah.
this much per hour, or
Right.
these jobs typically cost this much,
Yep.
you know.
Yep.
And then if
Yeah.
the call still gets booked, it's cool.
Yeah. That makes sense. So a job comes through, projects come through, and I think we categorize them, or my mental model is they come through at a high level, like they've got a lot
Mhm.
of detail, or they come through, they come through with a lot of detail, or they come through really high level, like very sparse on the details. Do you have a way that you respond to those? Is it uniform? Do
Mhm.
you adjust your response, or?
If I can write a statement of work for something, I will.
Okay. Okay.
So I'll write an SOW, all right, and then in the SOW, I'll usually, if it's a smaller project, I'll just fix bid the SOW, usually with a little hours cap on there, like, up to 30 hours a time or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I write a short executive summary in the project, and
Yep.
then I attach the SOW.
Yep.
I was writing these super long things. Don't do that. Winning people do not have huge long things in their project summary.
No.
Put the executive summary in there. Here's what we'll do. Here's how much it's going to cost, and then attach the detail. So if they want it, they can go get it. Right?
Yep. I think one thing that I've noticed about you is also you're very declarative. Like you're very specific in what you recommend doing, which I have noticed across the platform performs better, frankly. And I sort of counter that to like more consultative language, like we'll figure it out together. Customers seem to really gravitate toward, no, I need you to tell me what to do. And that work for you.
They're more comfortable. And I also think that if you phrase it, but I had a customer, different, not a profoundly one, but I was sitting at their conference table with their CEO and their VP the other day. I walked in, it was the third time I'd been there, and I sat down in the chair and said, if you don't buy middleware, I'm not working with you. And they thought it was really funny. They were laughing at me, but it's the truth though. Like you do have to kind of, tell them it's all right. You're the expert.
You're the expert, exactly.
Literally, you're the expert. So yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, so now you've watched your email, you've seen something come through, you've responded in a way like if you can write an SOW, you get a response from or call gets booked, I guess. You include your booking link in the proposal at least.
Yes. Yes.
So call gets booked. How do you prep for that call? Do you do any prep or do you just show up with
You get their email usually, so I'll sort of stalk them on LinkedIn a little bit, find out if it's a partner or if it's, I kind of wish I knew who it was a little bit more before. It would help me a little bit, I think.
Yep. What would you want to know?
I don't know who posted the job. I think would be, it's like, it's weird because I think there might be a reason why not, and I don't know what it is,
Hmm.
but like it's something I have thought about a little bit. Like it would be nice to know who's posting these things a little bit.
Like the individual, or you would want to know like more about the company that's
The
posting?
company that's doing it. I guess it could even be the individual.
Yeah, yeah,
Here's why. It could even be what their job title is. And the reason I'm saying it, and this wasn't supposed to be a product feedback session, but let's say that Trevor's here. Trevor posts a job, right? I know what Trevor knows because I know who Trevor is and I know Trevor's job title and background,
yeah,
right? My proposal of Trevor might be extraordinarily different than the one I give to Chris, right? Because
yeah,
they're different people with, see what I mean? So
yeah,
that can be, so what I'm going into the discovery call with, I guess to answer your question, is I go find out who it is so
yeah,
that I know where they're coming from, so that I can give them, so I can help them mold the idea based on what they are going to value, right?
yep,
So
yep. I like that. So you do. So there is some attempt to prep for that discovery call. You probably second nature to you, but you're like tailoring your mental model for who you're going to talk to, their level, their technical background.
yes,
Yeah.
it takes me about 5 minutes though. I don't think about it a lot, like you said, and I wouldn't spend more time than that. It's more just like, okay, this person is a developer, or this person is a coach, or this person is a strategist. If I go into the call in the wrong mindset or I say the wrong stuff, that's going to be, you don't want to kill somebody with technical detail if they don't want it
Yeah.
or don't need it.
Yeah.
So
I love that. And I can feel the product folks on the call like taking notes furiously as we're talking.
yeah.
This is awesome. Okay. All right. So we talked through your email, looking at email, how you crafted your profile, how you respond to proposals. How do you price? How do you approach sort of that initial price? Do you quote just your hourly rate, or how do you handle that
I
kind of?
usually sell blocks. So, okay, there's been some huge jobs. Those I quote with the regular quick to bid model, right? And the way I usually quote a big enterprise project is I sort of make meaningful chunks of work, figure out how long they're going to take for a unit. So let's say we're doing a CMS lift and shift, right? We figure a page is X number of dollars per page, right? And
Yeah.
that's calculated from an amount of work,
Yeah.
right? If you need 80 pages done, here's your price.
Right.
See what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
And then there's some integrations, there's some other things like those have chunks of time with costs associated with them too, right?
Yeah.
Cool. If you have a smaller job, so let's say that we're doing one HubSpot UI extension that's going to hook up to an AI agent thing. How long is this going to take? If it's a bigger company, sometimes I'll say, let's start with, mid four-figure estimate to try something out. If it works, great. If it doesn't, we'll let you know what it's actually going to cost, right? We're talking about pricing before we're talking about trust. So we've already made an error. If somebody loves you, they're going to pay, right? And it's
Mm.
because they believe that you can deliver the answer to their problem, and their problems are usually worth X multiples more than anything you would charge to solve them.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's really about establishing trust and bringing value in that initial call. Maybe you do spend a little, not a lot, a little bit of time working for free, not a lot, a couple
Yeah.
hours maybe, building showing them I'm a knowledgeable person, I can help you, like that's basically what you want is that the Caroline's over here giving two thumbs up.
I can feel it.
The money, say that like you're on a spectrum of work that you're going to do, money starts here, right? But value has to start over here, right? So you
Yeah.
have to do all this before, and then once you start getting paid or not, like it's more like you're already delivering the value, and then they say, oh, I probably need to pay you for this. That's sort
Yeah.
of that's how I want my relationships with my clients to be.
Yeah.
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 And so to get there, usually it starts with being organized and quick on the SOW. And then, sometimes like I had somebody recently, it was actually that guy that did he he did the testimonial inbound. I tried to say I need $1,000 to do a scoping call, and he said, that's what the last guy said. I said, well, whatever, I'll just do it then, like on the spot at that moment.
Yeah.
And then we didn't even end up doing a scoping. We ended up hands on keyboard for, I think it was a little more than it should have been. It was like a whole day of time playing around with this thing.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, he was like, all right, yeah, we're good. This is the guy, right? But sometimes it takes a little more investment, right? So not being afraid to like give of yourself a little bit has been a hugely beneficial approach. And then being organized with your paperwork, that. Oh yeah, what Chris is saying, size of opportunity matters. That's true. I didn't know it at the time, but that's actually a huge, huge customer. They're a big potential for me to help, so.
Yeah. And I think that's a good tie back to knowing who the customer is in the beginning can be helpful. Like there's the project, and then there's also the customer and their
Hmm.
sort of capacity beyond that particular project. So
Right.
good feedback. So now you said something interesting I just wanted to drill down on. You're talking about trust, right? So you've created a profile, you've created a proposal, and you've gotten on the call. Like you actually have talked about price even before getting on the
Hmm.
call.
Yeah.
So you're like your profiles created and your proposal are creating trust.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and that example that I was giving you, he had already seen what my rates were. And it wasn't actually about the rate. It was about spending time messing around with a charter project that didn't have any value yet to anybody outside of him and the organization.
Yeah. Yeah.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and that's not really anecdote. That does happen, so.
Yeah. All right. So in the spirit of time, I'm excited to dig deep on the discovery call. So you get to this call. Talk to me a little bit about how you manage the call. Like, do you open it up? Do you have a specific agenda? Do you let them talk first? Like, how do you do it?
What are we doing here, Brian?
Yeah.
Honest to God.
That's the beginning.
Literally.
Yep.
Yep. Why am I here?
Let them start talking.
Yep.
Not, hey, so I've seen your proposal, blah, blah, blah. Like they just get right into it.
Tell me about it. Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
really because the other thing is like in the age of AI, start every LinkedIn post ever that way. Some dumb shit gets generated sometimes. I
Yeah.
want to know what you have in mind, not what Claude told you to
Yep.
write in the proposal. I post project thing. See what I mean?
Yep.
Like, what are you looking for? What are
Yep.
you trying to solve? Because that I could take the conversation a whole different direction.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll have somebody like open up an IDE and say, I'm stuck here. And you're like, oh, okay, well, we're doing this now. Or it can be, like, oh, I'm trying to, a lot of times it's like, oh, I've got this other vendor. It's not going well. Like that kind of thing will happen sometimes.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that. Where are you with the project? Are you in development? Have you started yet? Like things like that.
Yeah.
Also, who are the other players? So you're trying to assemble both where it currently is and if there's a buyer committee, what does that look like? It's kind of classic sales 101. This is a initial, it's like a screening conversation.
Yeah. Do you follow any of those like Medic?
No, I mean, probably, but I don't know, not on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it organically. I got a question here. In your discovery calls, do you schedule a specific amount of time? 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour? Like do you have a standard?
I let them do it.
Okay.
I let them do it with my HubSpot link. Yeah. So, and my HubSpot link has who are you and what do you want? Basically. So like, yeah, and like I actually do ask for an agenda. And then I also route them to a page that gives them like a Bob Ross link or a Bob Ross saying at the end too. I don't know if you ever schedule a meeting with me, but
I'm going to do it as soon as we get off the phone.
yeah, it's funny. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So you've gone through the discovery call. It still feels like it's a good fit. And then what happens?
Yeah. So it really is going to depend a lot at that point because if you're working with a partner, so the other thing that I'll often say, and this is very true, by the way, it's not like I'm just saying it. I just want to be careful with that. We are a partner to partners. So part of our Quick2Bid business model is to be a partner to other partners.
Yeah.
Right? And so if that is the scenario, oftentimes a partner is usually assembling a team to then propose to their client, right?
Yeah.
So it might go dark for a while, right?
Yeah.
After that. That doesn't necessarily mean it's dead. It just means that they're going to figure out, okay, is the client going to actually pay for this? Right?
Yeah.
So if it's a partner, I'm expecting a little bit more of that, right? With the direct client, usually I'll offer to do a little bit of time with them and work on stuff, right? Let's look at something. Can we have a discovery call? Can we do a little bit more detail?
Yeah.
Sometimes I can actually start working on something with you a little bit, that kind of thing. Sometimes it's an introduction, it doesn't go anywhere, and then they come back a long time later. Sometimes they never come back. That's the spot in the process that I could probably use some coaching on because there probably is an answer for what the right way to be doing that is, and I'm not really sure what it is. It really is, it's much more variable once you've gotten past the discovery call, in my experience.
Yep. Are you asking for those things on the discovery call, or are you ending the discovery call and following up with those things?
I'm usually following up. Yeah. And I don't know if that's the right way or not, but yeah, that's what I'm usually doing. It's like, and I'm trying to also bring value as quickly as possible. So it's like, why don't you, if you're stuck on something, why don't you send it to me and I'll take a look at it a little bit and let you know.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, the things for what it's worth, and we'll open it up here in a bit for the audience to weigh in, but like scheduling the next thing or like having a plan for the next thing to move it meaningfully forward, I think we've found to work really well. Like, you want to think about it a little while? Cool. Like, let's connect next week for 10 minutes. I'll put it on the calendar now. What's your schedule look like? So that
Yeah.
it's a backstop. And at minimum, they've got to cancel that meeting, so something meaningful moving it forward. That's
Yeah.
helpful.
Well, yeah. So the other thing so I had one come in. This also wasn't a profoundly one. It was sort of a random thing. So hit me up on LinkedIn and said, "Can you talk for a minute?" I got on. He said, "Can you write me a small scope of work for just some consulting hours for Commerce Hub?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, absolutely." And then that was yesterday. I owe him the statement of work still. But the point is, he sent me a LinkedIn message a minute ago and said, "Can you tell me the answer to this question related to something in Commerce Hub?" Right?
Yeah.
I think I've now become a trusted partner already because I told him the right things during the discovery call.
Yeah, sure.
Now, if I answer that question, right, Caroline, trust is already there for sure. Yes, it
Yeah.
is. That's the point. So we're now here on the spectrum. He hasn't quite paid me any money yet, but like we're in a trusted, treat me like a coworker. That's the
Yeah.
idea, you know.
Yeah.
And that kind of comes down to philosophy as well. Like I don't really believe in and Chris has this whole pillar of managed service trap thing, blah blah blah. I don't believe in managed service as a trap. I don't think that's true. I think that managed service is a augmentation of what you can do at your company, right?
Yeah.
And consulting is really about being a partner that, whether they can do it or not, maybe they're hiring you for a whole plethora of different reasons, bring value to them, help them, right? And so that's how you get to the next phase. They might reach out with a question, let's try this out a little bit. Is this person really going to be a partner to me?
Yeah.
That's usually the next step that sort of brings it to something.
Yeah.
The other big one for me that is for like a large deal, sometimes I'll say, "Do you want me to come out there and sit with you for a couple of days?" That's a huge, and they were saying it at Inbound too, that face to face is sort of like the only thing now. So, the other thing that I'll sometimes do is say, "Do you want me to, I mean, Houston, Texas is actually only 3 hours from here, really, so
Yeah.
that's a big one. If you sit in a
Yeah.
conference room with a person, it changes everything.
Even the willingness, even the offer to do it, I think
Yes.
yeah,
Yep.
brilliant.
Exactly.
Now, one question that I guess I'd have, because I've received this question from a fair number of pros, is like, how do you protect your time, right? Like there's establishing trust and doing things to add value. And then there's abuse. There's like things go on and on forever and there's no actual engagement. Like, how do you think about that? How do you?
If you're in your car on your way to go visit the customer and you're saying to yourself, "This is the last time I'm going to do it. God damn it, this is it." That's when you know that it's time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have an answer that's specific to anybody else.
Yeah.
I just keep helping. And I believe that eventually, like people are intrinsically good. They really are. They don't want to take advantage of you most of the time.
Yeah.
So I don't,
Yeah. It gets to sort of my next question, which is like asking for the project, basically, right? Like, do you have an approach to say like, "Hey, this all seems like it's a really good fit"?
Yeah. So what I'll do is say something along the lines of, "Why don't we de-risk this for both of us? I'm going to send you a proposal for a chunk of my time for something we've already talked about, right?
Yep.
Here it is. This is for getting started type of stuff. Why don't you sign it? We'll get started and we'll see if this is actually a fit, right? Meet this strategic objective or get close. And then that's how I usually get started.
Yep.
So it's literally like, here's the DocuSign. Let's go.
Yeah.
And then, usually if it's like that 20-hour chunk type of thing, I try and fit it in the first 2 weeks or so, get something good done, and then the other thing I do, and this might be a little different from some other profoundly pros, is I have a team, so I'll sort of start to float my team around a little bit too.
Yeah. So you've at this point you have shared probably some sense of an SOW for the project that came through. You've had the call, you've clarified things, you maybe advised, let's say, for without a fee, and then you sort of get to a point where you're like, "Hey, I'm going to send you some hours for this proposal for this thing that we've been talking about," and it's not the initial proposal. It's a subset of that initial proposal, is it?
It will depend, but oftentimes as a subset, yes.
Okay.
Just to answer your question,
yeah,
it's usually the team. The team is client facing.
Yeah,
they're people that are they're quick to bidders. One of them could have done this podcast probably, or whatever we're calling it. So anyway, yeah. So it'll depend too, Brian.
Yeah.
Sometimes it gets executed as is. I kind of like to dip a toe in the water, to be honest.
Yeah.
So if I can get away with it, I'll often do that. I think it's better for everybody. It de-risks things a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, this is something I haven't really done a lot of self-reflection on. It's just how I do it.
Yeah.
I don't actually know if that's like there might be like a better answer to that, but that's how I'm doing it now, so.
and it's working. So
Yes, exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
I think that's a great place for us to open it up to anybody that's on the call that has a question, anything that Bill talked through, any questions we didn't get to. If you want to come on camera and unmute, ask Bill directly. Great opportunity to learn from someone who's not going to cover off the ball here. I have a question on behalf of someone who's here. How did you get started? Like, so you decide you're going to hang your shingle, you decide you're going to do this, right? You have zero clients at that point, and in that moment, how do you start to generate demand?
Oh boy, do I have a good summoning story. It is so funny. Okay, so I was at Cleaver Brooks, which is a boiler company, working on industrial water tube boilers, quoting, making the quotes, and working on the stupid quote software, which is, I still want to go fix it. It gives
Yeah,
me nightmares. So I was doing that and I was like, I want to be a consultant. That's what I want to do. I've always wanted to do what I'm doing. Like from day one, that's what I wanted to do. So I cold called, without exaggeration, probably 20 CPQ vendors. And I mean like Excel at a cell phone cold call, right?
yeah,
And I nobody answered except for one guy, and his name is Kevin Garrity, and he is still my friend to this day. I was just out at a steakhouse in Houston with him. He is a genuine friend in the universe. And he answered the phone, and I think he just kind of thought it was cute. I was like 23 or something, you know. And he said, "Well, I'm going to be in Chicago." It was like September, and I was living out in California at the time. And I said, "Same thing. I'll get on a plane, come visit you." So I bought a plane ticket
yeah,
against under duress. My wife was not impressed. And I went out there, took off work, went out there, visited him at the Virgin Hotel in Chicago, him and his business partner. I brought a little, I've still got it. It was a printed out slide deck of things that I wanted him to do and things I was going to do, which is
yeah,
actually exactly what Quick2Bid still does. And so that all happened and we signed a rather onerous partner agreement. And then I got back on the plane and went home. Well, we signed the partner agreement later. And then I had another buddy named Mike who was working with a tier two supplier to the boiler company who was making condensate return units. That's FabTech. They're on my website still. And I called him on the phone, Mike Chestnut, and he said, "Sure, Bill, I'll let you do a CPQ for me." And I don't think he had very high hopes, but we persevered through the project. And I was actually just down there the other week, but and he wasn't like nice. He would tell me things chapped his ass. Actually, he was not impressed. But anyway, he taught me how what a client is like and all that stuff.
yeah,
And now they have 70 seats of that CPQ solution and they run their whole business with it. And they've grown, I think he was like 7 or 800K in revenue then, and now it's like 15 million. It's like this huge thing now. That was how I got started, was literally like it was analog.
yeah,
And I would say that today, if I were to start again, I probably would do it the same way. Like I would, call somebody on the phone or send them a LinkedIn message and say, I'm eager to try this. I want to help. That's really the level that, it hasn't changed much, and the other thing I'll say is that it's the relationships that you gain. I wouldn't have to start over now because I know you and I know Chris and, I know Kevin and, so it's really like one or two big business deals a year with a bunch of little ones associated with it for a long time is what scales a consultancy, in
got
my
it.
opinion. So,
Yep, I love it. Cool.
yeah. So that was a little crazy. Sorry.
Oh, that's good. That's a good origin story there. That's
Yeah.
cool. And I can feel Chris being like cold outbound.
How dare you? I know, right? It was like, it wasn't really cold. Some of it was cold, but the thing that was cold was really more like I'll help bring you, I'll work with you, or I have something valuable to offer, and
Yeah,
that was really the thing, So, and it's hard now, like with HubSpot, there's, big fish and, but honestly, a lot of those big fish could use some help too. So, it's calling them and saying, "Hey, can I help you?" Or, or going on profoundly and quoting jobs or so. Yeah, absolutely.
awesome. Right. Well, I know. I think that's a good place to sort of say thank you, Bill. This has been awesome, awesome session. Appreciate you being so candid and transparent, diving deep on what worked and your insights and like how you actually did it. We're very grateful. I'm grateful. I know everybody on the call is grateful. People who listen to this after the fact are really going to learn a lot. So just thank you for taking the time.
Absolutely. Anytime. Really. Invite me back. I like it. But,
Awesome.
yeah. Thank
And
you.
and for anyone listening, like I guess my only my push would be there was a lot here. Take one thing. If that's all you want to do, just take one of these things and put it into practice and experiment with it. We're here to support you. As Bill mentioned, like don't suffer silently. Reach out if you have questions or thoughts. And again, Bill, seriously, thank you. And look forward to continuing to help millions grow better than ever together.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.